Alright, welcome back to another update of my K20 Turbo EK9 Civic. Today what we're going to do, make a start on the guards. A few months back I made a test one just to see if I could do it, and it is merely just a quick test, and that's it there. And that basically stay there, but basically bolts on there like that there. So my plan is to start making a bit of a mould to go on here, and then I'm just going to basically cover it with carbon, and that's going to be the finished product straight out. So I'm certainly no professional at doing this, so this is DIY at its finest. I'm going to give it a crack. This one here came out alright for a real rush job, so if I can just tidy it up a bit, get it looking a bit better, and then we'll have the wide body on the front pretty sorted. We'll begin by getting the 17s off and get these 18s on the car. So that's the 18 by 10s bolted on. The wheel's not straight at the moment, but you can see how much they stick out, and that guard's actually not bolted on at all. Guard sitting there, but that's what we're dealing with, hence the guards I need to make. This runs a 20mm spacer on the wheel as well, behind the wheel, just because there is a hell of a lot of clearance that's needed in the inner guards to get some lock. Let's see what we can create. Alright, so I'm kind of gonna wing this, make it up as I go, but this is the foam that I'm going to use to build the mould, whatever you want to call it, on the wheel to lay out the carbon. It's 12mm thick Divney cell, I think it's called, something like that. I've had it lying around for ages. Got another sheet there. My plan is to build up the guard off the tyre, somewhat where I want it, and then somehow shape it and become what I need. Like I say, this is DIY, I don't have a plan, make it up as I go, and we'll see what the result is. Hopefully it's good. First things first, I just need to get the guard solid, spaced out to where I need it to be. So alright, the guards are set up pretty much the same, in a temporary fashion, but just enough to do the build the outer. So that's what I'm going to build out. Just got a bracket in here which is pumping this guard out, and I've just built the bracket on this side, just very temporary. Can't really see it, but that's just pumping that guard out just slightly there as well. Get some DIY carbon action going. Right, so I've cut my first two strips. These are 110mm wide. So basically I can figure out the shape of these on here. I've chamfered this edge just when I cut it. You can't really see, but that's angled slightly just so it fits to the car just a little bit nicer. So I've got two more or less identical pieces there. My shape is basically going to follow this guard line, keeps it easy. So I'll just follow that down there, and then she's just going to follow sort of the wheel line out to about here. It's relatively straightforward guard. It's just getting this packed up to this point. So what I'm going to use is hot glue. I'm going to simply hot glue it onto this and pack up from the tyre up to here, and then I'm going to put basically a flat piece on the side so that can drape over, but I'll film that as I go. So one thing before you do start making guards and things, especially in my case where everything's growing bigger, make sure that your wheel's centered, steering wheel centered, so your guards don't end up cockeyed. and handbrakes on in my case, because I'm going to actually use the wheel to build up from, so I don't want the car moving around and ruining my mould. Alright, so I've got the main shape of the guard there. I've hot glued it to the guard. I've got some wee packers in here, hot glued in and glued to this to hold it. Get an idea of the shape, I've just run that longer there. And I've got it actually wide onto here. As I said, we are making this up as we go. But that is the shape of the guard there, as you can see. So from here, I think what I'm going to do is replicate this on the other side first, and then figure out how I'm going to fill all of this in. I mean, that shape's looking pretty much what I want. It'll come down, form the guard, gurney flap at the rear of the guard there, and not only is it functional for the wider wheels, but of course it's functional for a big portion of what I want to do, which is aero. So yeah, keep forging ahead. I've seen, just to touch on, I've seen guys build out of like expanding foam guards and sand and shave them down, and they eventually come out with an awesome job, but dude, it takes them a long time. So I'm hoping I can expedite this process. Doing what I'm doing, it's not going to be perfect. I don't need perfect, it's a race car. It needs to be functional. Alright, yeah, I've used this bit of signboard here, which I've had lying around the garage, which before I lay up, I'll clean it up a bit, but what I've done is basically just scribed it to that curve. I'm going to line that up there, and like that. So that fits around that curve there. What I'll do is cut some holes in this and probably fix it just to the wheel to hold it up. Believe it or not, I'll put some small blocks, not unlike these ones, hot glue them back here all the way around, so that this then can glue and press up to it. I've rounded this edge just slightly, just giving a bit of a round with some sandpaper. As you can see, I've got the shit everywhere, but just giving that a wee bit of a round. Just to give it a nice, well, it's actually to make the layup a bit easier so that it has a curve rather than a hard edge. So what I'm going to do is get that fixed on there. I mentioned this is DIY, right? So that's the bit of signboard attached to the top part of the guard. So I've just sketched roughly what the wheel looks like there. I've literally taped this to the spokes of the wheel with some packers there just to hold it in place. I put the packers behind here, those there the whole way through, and then hot glued this to it. There you go, you can see in there. Alright, both sides are done. That one is, well, not completely done, but they've both got the signboard on them. And at the back here, I've just added in just these wee packers here, just to hold that when it's when I lay it up. So that's kind of how she's looking. Right, so next step is, like I mentioned, what we're going to use to cover this foam is some vinyl wrap, and I'm going to wrap from up here down across, and then just down the front of this a wee bit, because I can wax this up, and that will release. Absolutely fine. In fact, it will release without probably wax, to be honest. That's really good. But yeah, once we've got that, we're ready to lay the carbon. somehow I'm going to lay it over this. See how that goes. Right, that's the vinyl laid on just to cover up that foam. Bloody hard to get it to stick down to the foam obviously, but it doesn't need to be perfect by any means. I'm not worried about these crinkles at all. It's going to lay straight over that with ease. So with one side done, one side to go. Hopefully we can get the carbon soon and lay up tonight. So we're planning to run 3 layers. I'm going to run 1, 2 of this, 2 shorter sheets down there, and then I'll see how much I've got on my main roll and try and finish it with 1. Otherwise I might just do a 3rd layer of this again, but we'll see how that goes. Right, so I've got some pretty old West Systems 105 epoxy resin and 205 hardener. This has been sitting for a while when I mucked around with carbon a few years ago, so hopefully it's still good. I guess we'll find out. that's the other side done and laid up. This side's not quite as nice as the other side. A few ripples. You can see that one there, it's in the vinyl, I just can't get it out. It's also got a joint in it, the carbon. Should have it lapping the other way, it doesn't matter, because I didn't have a piece big enough. So that's that one done. That one's looking pretty good actually. One critical thing that I've forgotten before I laid this up was to wax everything that I had on the vinyl and the signboard so that it pops off easy. Luckily, any vinyl or anything that sticks to the back doesn't matter a shit because this is the finished surface on top, but I freaking forgot. So we'll see how that pops off. Hopefully it's not too bad. It shouldn't be, but yeah, pretty much that's that for now. We'll let that dry overnight and then make the next part tomorrow.